All right. So now we're live.
Nice. Gonna do the intro again.
Always be prepared.
Oh,
No, we don't have to do an intro. We can, we can, we can get right to it. What were we gonna talk about? Oh yeah.
Washington, I believe.
Yes. Let's get that out of the way. Just right there. So we have Washington, and in extension of Washington, there's obviously Twitter. So,
Yeah.
um,
We're talking about the capital. Trump
yes,
of
the
supporters
mess.
breaking into the capital. I saw a video of also on Twitter.
Uh huh.
A video of some riot guards. There's a riot guard like holding someone's hand as they were going down steps, like for her comfort,
Oh yeah.
as
Well,
she was leaving the capital.
yeah. Well, um, I would just I have a pretty clear picture of it, I think, and that's um what I don't get is all these newly empowered so-called liberal Democrats or so-called progressive Democrats going
Mhm.
all like, "Oh my God, these fascists need to be punished," you know, like, all right, that is certainly a take to have, but um, when I see the picture of like that one dude with the there's the when they're the picture, there's the guy with the furry hat, and then next to him there's this dude with this Trump shirt that he's showing that he was at the inauguration, and he's got this flag, and he just looks out of his eyes like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing, you know. And these are really, I mean, my heart goes out to them. Like it doesn't matter how, like I'm not a like I mean, I consider myself an anti-fascist, right?
Yeah, yeah, me too.
But I mean, these people hardly genuinely qualify. Like so many of them are just
No, but they're still like in like
yeah.
can still go. Like
I mean, it's not
you
about
gotta.
whether or not they're fascist. I feel like that question almost derails the any conversation you can have about this. It's these are the working class people who feel disenfranchised. They feel like their country's been stolen from them. They feel like the political process is a sham, and they're not wrong. They've just been told an
Yeah,
explanation for that fact that doesn't make sense. Yes, the country has been stolen, but it's not been stolen by, you know, Democrats, or at least not directly, or at least not for the sake of stealing it for Democrats, especially not, in order to hand it over to, Antifa. If only, you know. So
learn about uh
it's been,
like
but it has been stolen. The country is being looted. Yes, that is definitely the situation.
they still have yet to learn the whole country itself was built on stolen land.
Exactly. It's, but whatever country that they thought they lived in was systematically being stolen out from underneath them by the billionaires, by the owning class, by the ruling class,
Hmm.
which which are the same people, and then people are like, that's also because the media is has been enabling because Trump is good for ratings. And I'm like, not just because Trump is good for ratings. These media are owned by corporations, and these corporations are owned by corporations. The Washington Post is owned by Amazon. So it doesn't matter how woke your newspaper is. It doesn't matter how woke the journalists are who work at your newspaper and how critical they are of Trump and how progressive they are and how much airtime they gave to Bernie. if the structure in which they operate, and I'm saying Bernie cynically here because even if Bernie became president, you would still need, you know, well, I mean, that I'm not going to sit here and argue that having Bernie as president wouldn't be a good thing. Of course, it's a good thing, but it's not a solution to the question that those people have.
Bernie's like a political revolutionary, whereas there's a lot more revolutions that have to happen. That was in the video you sent last night.
I can't say that I have fully memorized that video. Which one was that? Which one did I share with?
Was the new school? Chris Hedges.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wages.
Oh man, if we would prepare these broadcasts, we should definitely like look at those videos and take like a couple highlights and be like, okay, this is what we want to share. It's like because
yeah,
an author and thinker like Chris Hedges is perfect material to show you like, hey, this is not, it's not the story. The story isn't left-wing Democrats, right-wing Republicans. The right wing went a little bit too far, whoopsie, and now, but thank God that's not how any of this is working. You're being played. You know, both sides are sponsored by, even if they're sponsored by different corporations or different PACs, in the end it's the same. You know, even if two newspapers seemingly have contradictory opinions, those are still, they can be part of the same corporate conglomerate. And even if they're not, even if they're part of separate corporate conglomerates, the shareholders of those separate corporate conglomerates can still be the same people.
Yeah.
So in the end, the moneyed interests really do form a single class that is constantly, literally at war with everybody else. And it's very simple. If you want to know if you're a capitalist or not, do you work for a living? You are not a capitalist. Is there anyone who is considered to be your boss, or if you have a job, or if some... Yeah. Either you work for a living or your money works for you. And if your money works for you, that's just a euphemism for saying you have other people working for you. Not because they want to, not because they... not because that's their choice, even though that's always how it's put, like, well, you don't have to pay this landlord. You can live somewhere else. They choose to work here. Sure, if you don't like working at Amazon, maybe you should get a different job. Like, yeah, maybe I should. Too bad literally everything's closed and, there's... Yeah, anyway, that whole rabbit hole. Do you think Biden is ever going to have addressed that? No, it's not. So, of course, the people go and storm the Capitol because they know that's the thing. These Trump supporters, they are, at least they know one thing, which is that the Democratic Party does not represent them. They understand that very well. And in a sense, they understood that about the Republican Party before Trump. Because they're also saying, look, the Republican Party is, betraying him, but they stay with Trump. They don't care about the Republican Party. Yeah. Because Trump gives them the appearance of anti-establishment, anti-system, drain the swamp and clear out the... Yeah.
It's that layer of like cognitive dissonance is just... I can't really fully understand it, to be honest.
And I feel like that goes back to the... Does it? Well, let's see. Maybe this helps. What I said earlier about this impulse for people towards, let's punish these misguided, misinformed people who may definitely have deplorable ideas and have been steadily been radicalized into an abominable ideology. Well, I'm fully, giving you that. But they're not the... If you have to punish someone, punish whatever well, no, hold on. Let's put a pin in that. Yeah, these people, the making these people out to be the bad people is too simple, and it's this. I feel like that connects to this whole idea of, okay, let's go back to normal. Biden's here, the vaccine is here. Let's quickly go back to normal. And one way to do that is to punish these dastardly, it's a boring take. I feel like
it is important that like to recognize that we do kind of need these people on our side in some way. Like,
yeah, I mean, these are working class people.
we need to like find empathy with them.
Yes. For every one of them, there's 100 who couldn't go but would have wanted to go, and for every of those, there's another 100 who wouldn't quite go so far as to go, but who supports it. There's so many people who support this. Yeah, it's, and they genuinely think that they're in the silent majority, but that's because they've been stuck in a filter bubble for the last 5-6 years. Kept there for profit, herded in there for profit by the very same corporations, Facebook, Twitter, that are now all, ooh, well, now we're gonna silence Trump now because it's gone too far now. Oh, now it's gone too far. Made you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's worrying to see, indeed, that the police totally let these people in.
What role do you think Twitter had in all of this?
In this anecdote of a, cool LARP, or of the entire process of Trumpification?
I think in like the entire process.
Well, I mean, engagement shows ads. So the more people engage with the platform, the more ads they show, the more money they make. So the more they can get you to engage with it, so the more compelling content they can feed you. If they find something that they know will trigger you to respond and interact and spend more time on the process or on the platform, they'll feed it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that engagement drives their revenue. So, indeed, you radicalizing, you getting worked up, you getting more and more involved with this, with more and more empathetic and emotional, back and forth situations, are better for them. And even better, and that is something that Peter Kaufman explains perfectly, I would say, as well as I've heard it explained so far in a video about representation, or about correctness. Yeah, Our Lady of Perpetual Correctness. Link in the description. That as long as you're kept in a bubble where you feel like you're correct, and they keep giving you the things that they think that you want to hear, while you're in that mindset of, I think the right thing, you're also more likely to engage with advertisements, because your buying decisions will fit into that same mindset and feel like, I'm doing the right thing by, consuming this targeted advertised product that fits and reaffirms my chosen identity, which is all that I'm doing really here on Twitter, is performing a social persona.
It's all trapped within that.
Yeah.
Like that, it has a ceiling.
And I recognized that recently, because I realized, I was like, I'm tweeting so hard. I'm really doing my best on Twitter, and it's not working. And I realized I was playing Twitter on hard mode for the longest time, because I didn't have a picture of my face as my picture. I had a picture of a white cross on a black background made of fists that I made in like GIMP back in 2007
Wow. I
with a
was wondering what.
mouse. Yeah. I don't think I even have the original picture. Like, I think the picture that I put on Twitter was, no, I put it a long time ago. But I only have it as saved from profile pictures that I uploaded way back in the day. Anyway, yeah, so it's all about this persona and about this popularity contest.
A personality. Uh,
Yeah, and of course, especially now when people are basically isolated physically, and we get more and more reduced to our digital avatars. So, decisions that feed the validity and connectedness and value of that avatar become more and more important, which will let people to indeed go and have these online meetups where they try and overthrow the government. Which, you know, in some sense, on some level, intuitively, they've got the right idea. That system is over, and it doesn't represent them. And going in there and ransacking the place and looting the specifically looted the little podium, that was just, oh, it's awful, but also beautiful. In a way, it's beautiful because it's like a physical token of, look, it's a facade. You know, this is just props. It's just a prop on a stage. Because all this time, Mitch McConnell apparently could personally decide what was and was not appropriate material to even be discussed on the Senate floor. So you don't actually have a democracy. You have, yeah, an oligarchy. Well, so now what's the problem? The problem with that is that all the issues with the system, all the feelings of isolation and not being represented, are being pinned on the freshly ousted fascists. Or at least that seems to be the narrative that they're trying to spin this as. But the system itself is, the words sacred duty were used to describe some obscure process of affirming the electoral college votes, and it was just all like, oh, the state has taken the place of sense making of the world that we're living in, and that's just a terrible thing. We used to have laws against that called the separation of church and state, but because we don't really have a clear image of a church as a power structure anymore, it's hard to argue but that you should keep the idea of separation of church and state in mind, in the sense of don't let the state become a church. I haven't actually come across this thought before, but that's funny to think about.
Have a lot of control and like power here in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. The church, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but as we saw with the abortion discussion, at least it leads to the state needing to be creative and inventive and open to new ideas, because dichotomies don't work, because we're in 2021 now and people are, everyone's had a taste of reality on some level. Sure, it's not the same ship, it's not, we're not in the same boat, but we're in the same storm, and we've had a taste of reality.
Yeah.
And the old structure simply won't suffice anymore. And that's my issue with the eagerness that people seem to feel around blaming the right wing fringe, the Donald, QAnon, Proud Boys, and stuff for all the things that are bad in the world. And now thankfully the reasonably level-headed Democrats are back in charge and are going to set things right. They're not. They're not going to actually address the issues that these people have.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to. So by punishing them, what you don't do is you don't bridge that pain. You don't fix the divide. You alienate them further. You radicalize them further. What you need to be doing is you need to listen to their grief about what they feel is being lost. And then you need to address it in meaningful ways, felt ways, heartfelt ways, true ways. Because the only thing that's more powerful than the lies that these people have been fed, plus the isolation filter bubble that they've been spiraling into, are like the countermeasures for those two things are truth and community and connectedness. So, if the Democratic Party is unable to provide a truth, then it's not going to be a solution. So far, we haven't seen that they are willing to do that because, well, they're snubbing all the progressives. Like, there's the meme Bernie would have won, and it's a meme, but it's also in a way true, or at least Bernie would have been able to look at these people and see the working class and speak to them on that level and have them realize, oh, wait, that's right, we're the working class. He could say, yes, you are being screwed with. Is Biden going to say you're being screwed with? No, Biden's going to say Trump was the one screwing with you. I'm here to bring back decency. He's not bringing back decency. He's bringing back, a more convinced, more reactionary version of the Obama liberalism that got people so disenfranchised in the first place. These are young people who are standing behind Trump. How can you lose that demographic to the right wing? Well, by Churchill says if you're not a socialist by 20, you don't have a heart. The reason that these people aren't socialists is because the Democratic Party doesn't have a heart. And the only one with anyway, there's a lot more going on. I don't know if I'm the right person to explain why Trump was even a thing. This is not, but the problem with blaming them and going, oh well, we clearly need more strict rules against online extremism and stuff, is that we risk coming up with some kind of Patriot Act 2.0 voted in by a supposedly progressive, supposedly left-wing supermajority of Democrats under the flag of saving democracy. It's super ironic because that would also be like, remember when, was it also Chris Hedges? Well, Chris Hedges definitely said it, but he may have been quoting someone who said, when fascism comes to America, it'll be wrapped in the flag. And that was definitely Trump.
Wow.
But also, if now under the guise of, finally normality and the way things are supposed to be is restored and order is restored, and we're saving democracy, and that wasn't what America was all about. America was all about decency, and now then they roll out these sort of more, woke totalitarianism or something. That would be, it's almost like, of course, because the other thing would have been too obvious, right? That was the that was the pocket rockets. Trump is like, okay, it's a poker metaphor. Trump's fascism was pocket rockets. It doesn't matter what you roll. He's just gonna blast over it But then now, for some reason, you get this sort of something else that goes over it on the river. I don't even know. I don't play poker. It seemed like, when you're like, where you end up with, okay, that went nowhere. That's fine. We can apologize for wasting the audience's time.
That was a good stream. Yeah, so we've talked about Washington, the capital, and now Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something more to address? Maybe what can we do? Are you on Mastodon?
Am I on Mastodon? Strictly speaking, I am on Mastodon. Good that you bring that up. Let's not right now do so. Okay, let's wrap that up into the question of what can we do and how is Mastodon relevant to that. It's
Sure.
like, okay, yes. So, because earlier we had what was Twitter's role in all of this besides making money out of the stampede and the rampage and playing people out against each other the same way Facebook does. Oh wait, so that's a thing. So don't let them just blame the Republicans. The platforms on which this happened were a unique phenomenon that were never available before, and they grew tremendously in size, in reach, in wealth for the shareholders, and in power and in political relevance during this era of social media politics, which was definitely ushered in under Obama, right? And then there was a Bernie Sanders who resonated with the movement in society, and twice the DNC messed with the primaries to get a more, imperialism flavor candidate on the ballot. And in the first time, that resulted in Hillary lost to Trump. How could you lose to Trump? Well, by being Hillary, just the wrong person for the time. She was already the wrong person during Obama. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Second time, Biden. Look how close that was. Do you really think people were going to You could have run anybody. They could have, if the DNC really was for the people and the party that is not the right wing and all the things that it claims to be now, they could have run Bernie. He would have actually won by a big enough margin that it wouldn't have been able to have this, back and forth situation. I don't know. It would have been a lot different, I think. But that doesn't matter. What can we do? Well, the master's tools are not going to break down the master's house. It might seem that way sometimes. For a little bit, you can inconvenience the structure. You can embarrass the structure for 5 minutes on Twitter, on Instagram, but you're never going to bring it down.
Yeah.
Because the more effective your outrage becomes, the more heard and shared and viewed your truth that you are speaking becomes on these platforms, the more
Censored.
it actually, the more encapsulated, the more it becomes a product, the more commoditized it becomes. They'll use it. Like
They
the
also
algorithm will incorporate it
shadow
into.
banning and stuff.
Huh? Sorry, what?
They also have shadow banning and stuff.
Of course there's that. That's the more obvious one. It's like, ooh, this is working a little bit too well. Let's tone that down a little bit without them noticing.
Yeah.
But also, it will get incorporated into the structure itself. Your outrage becomes commodified as another way for them to play people off against each other.
Once they set the bounds.
Yeah, and they can recontextualize it. Using the entirety of all that's on Twitter as a way to yes, but if we put it like this,
I get you. Yeah.
And there's an algorithm learning how to do just that for maximum engagement. And that is what a terrible way to waste resources, energy,
Yeah.
computer power, minds.
So we know this, which is like
Yeah. So there's the yeah.
returns. The thing is that there are solutions, and I think open source software is a solution. It just
It's a
bypasses all of
necessity. It's a necessity. It is no more a solution than electing Bernie to be president would be a solution, but it is a necessity. Okay, so maybe so personally, I feel like no presidents. You don't need presidents. Not having a president would be better, but uh, we do use social media, especially if we're in lockdown. Um, but let's have social media that is not run for profit. And I'm learning
no.
this thing because I'm also, I mean, I've been interested in the cryptocurrency sphere for a long time. And I realized that the exchanges themselves are being run for profit.
Yeah.
And they don't really care if it goes up or down. They don't really care if you make money. They don't really care if money is concentrated at the top or if people lose their livelihoods. They care about many trades. They want a lot of volume. They just want to keep the volume going because they make money on every trade. Doesn't matter if you buy or sell. Doesn't matter if the price goes up or down. The more there's trade, the more they make. So they want more volume. In the same sense, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube are exchanges of information and ideas, and they negotiate our relationships, right? So there's people on Twitter that I feel like I have, what do you call that? There's a word for that, a something relationship with. That is mitigated by Twitter, so it feeds ads. Like the fact that they know that I care about the content particular people put out makes it easier for them to target me with ads.
Yeah. And just a little bit when you say about cryptocurrencies like that, because cryptocurrencies themselves, like the software behind it, is all open source.
Yeah, it is true. No, we'll get to that in a bit. I want to say a little bit more about the social media as exchange model, because again, like the exchange doesn't matter if you make money or lose money. The exchange doesn't matter if wealth is concentrated at the top. The exchange doesn't care how much something costs. The exchange cares that there's trade volume. Facebook doesn't care if it's making you happy. Facebook doesn't care if it's fulfilling your needs, if you get to talk to the people that you want to and need to talk to. Facebook wants you to engage with the platform. And if it turns out that, anger gets you more engagement than a sense of connectedness, community, and camaraderie, anger is what it's going to feed you. So in that sense, it is a very high level mirror of the way that our subconscious behavior influences the world. I've had it described to me today as a mimicry of synchronicity. So the algorithms are mimicking the effects of synchronicity, which subtly give you the feeling that what you're experiencing is more meaningful than it really is. And the algorithm isn't even programmed to do that necessarily or doing that on purpose. It's just it lands on that mode simply through trial and trial, and finds that it's effective. And no one can really explain why, but this is the theory, that it mimics synchronicity, and that we humans do have an innate sense of, ooh, that's interesting, that's a curious confluence of events, ideas, people, and thoughts, and the algorithm is learning to mimic that. And that you could, when people are warning about the creation of a demiurge, or it's like, well, this is
demiurge.
Yeah, it's like a yeah, like we're creating our own gods. Oh, ominous YouTube tab crash.
Yeah, I was just looking at the YouTube. I don't actually see the stream up there.
Well, it does say here that it's on. Well, but maybe that's fine. That's fine. It seems like it's on, and
Yeah, we really do need to like prepare our tech side.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Man, there's so much to say, and I'm gonna probably repeat all of the things I've just said. I'm gonna keep repeating in different ways, in different settings, with different prompts, different reasons, different examples, different metaphors, but it's always gonna come down to the same thing.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm so curious to hear what's gonna come next. I don't really know, actually. What is the same thing that I'm always gonna be saying? That it has to do with power and the distribution of power, and indeed, like you affirm, the need for open source software, the fact that these social platforms are not your friend, that's one of the big reasons why I haven't actually been streaming, is because I'm always thinking, yeah, but I don't trust really YouTube. Not that they're gonna go against me or somehow, that it's there's no need for a conspiracy here. It's just, this is not the solution. We need our own platforms. We need more engaged, more interactive situations. I mean, even just have this Jitsi call. That's why I like the idea of having the Jitsi link in the description of the video, so that people can drop in.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because it's a more direct thing. Because you can host your own Jitsi session. It's not. No one can pull the plug on it. You've got a space to talk and to breathe and to be. And I feel that's important on an emotional and spiritual level, in a way, right? We feel, it's like you feel the difference between texting someone on WhatsApp and on Signal.
Yeah. You're much more free.
Yeah, and you feel the difference on, say, Mattermost versus Slack.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of who else is reading this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I personally get a lot less anxiety, for example, on Mattermost than I would on Slack, or like just in a broad term, using technology over.
Yeah. And people use Discord, and I love the functionality that Discord gives. But it's got all this Twitch integration and all this. It's also about engagement milking, data farming stuff. I want a full on open source Discord. Yeah, I would love that, because it's just so good. It's just really good. But I worry when I see how it's being used to organize protests. All these different Discord servers for like people organizing Black Lives Matter protests, or
Also, like, bad things as well. There was like, I don't know if you had it, but like in Ireland there was a big scandal where like a lot of unconsensual nude pictures were shared on Discord. Like,
oh yeah, I'm sure.
For that too, fortunately.
Oh yeah. No, it's yeah. So it's just one of those places, man.
Yeah. It's also like, yeah, I don't know. We have a lot to learn.
Yeah. So there's that, and then there's the whole. Wow, it's so beautiful. Pink and light blue and sunset.
Is it sunsetting for you? You're an hour ahead, yeah.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. So pretty bright out here.
Mm-hmm. I Should I do this? Ooh.
Really not. It looks like a good studio. Oh, cool.
Can I make it darker?
Oh, nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I should get a longer cable so I can give you a better view of the sunset when it's there. Oh, hee hee. That's a close up. So there we are. Yeah, no, thanks. This is it's been fun to set it up. Well, that was a mess, huh? Intermezzo.
I thought that was a good stream.
Yeah, do you think we have it?
Like,
Ah man, I don't feel like I wrapped it up in all at all.
Yeah,
Where was it?
that's all right.
So what we need to do is to get our own platforms, but currently they don't exist. Or there's PeerTube, but you don't have live stream there.
By the way, PeerTube just recently renounced version 3, I think, where they have introduced live streaming.
They announced the version 3,
Yeah.
but it's not released. But I
Okay.
am waiting. Okay, so you know what? Let's be ready. Like let's put that as the goal. Let's wrap up with that. That would be a conclusion, because then it's not about conclusions, willy nilly thinking like, oh, okay, great. Here's another words from the dude who rambles a lot. No, here's the concrete action. We already said we need to fix our tech stuff. I am motivated, like, to have it. Like, version 3 of PeerTube does motivate me. I feel not motivated to get my tech stuff ready for YouTube because I don't believe in the platform. But
Sure.
PeerTube live streaming, okay, I can get behind that. Like, I can feel the enthusiasm and the fire to make that reality. So let's put that as a conclusion. The conclusion is we got to act now. It's time. 2020 was great, introspective, it's perfect. Now 2021, soon enough, we're in privileged enough position that we're all gonna get vaccinated long before people who probably need it much more. Like, or you don't get vaccinated. That's fine. What I'm trying to say is, oh yeah, and I remember also what I said about the vaccinations. So, and that is, I'm not doing the vaccination so that the status quo can continue. It's like, okay, let's go back to normal. This whole back to normal thing is over. I don't want to be vaccinated in order to go back to normal, because back to normal means, oh, you want to jab me with a, I have to get a regular shot to inoculate me against the inherent contradictions of capitalism wreaking havoc on the planet. No, I'm not consenting to that. Every time our ridiculous and abhorrent and immoral animal food system comes up with another strain of some killer virus, I wholly reject that. I am in active rebellion against this ongoing destruction. I will not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to enable that system any further. And if me getting vaccinated is used in order to, pretend like everything's fine and we can go back to normal, then no. The integrity of my body is let's say, if I'm willing to compromise that, there needs to be clear political reciprocation in exchange for that. So I'm not saying no to the vaccine. I'm saying let's negotiate. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm sure there's no microchip in there. I'm sure it's not meant to reprogram my DNA to become a lizard. I'm just saying, you want to literally get under my skin in order for society to resume functioning, then I want to have a sense that I have something to say about how that society is functioning. I think that does wrap it back up to the people storming Capitol, they felt like this was the last time that they would have a say. Because I went onto their website, the Donald got kicked from Reddit, and they went on to the Donald.win, and you read there, and they truly believe this was it. This is the only chance they have. Because after this, there's never going to be another fair election. That's literally what they say. They will make it so that we will never have another fair election, and they will, it's basically the same idea of the end of history, and there is no alternative. It's like, white middle class people are finally waking up to the horrors of neoliberalism. They've just, gotten a mythology around it that somehow fits the worldview that they've been steadily pushed and sold by these corporate for-profit media things. This is, it's the bitter fruit of McCarthyism or something. I don't know what to say. It's I'm not in America. It's just, yeah. These people feel like they've lost control. Like they had some measure of control and they've lost it. And they know, and they're not wrong, that after this there's never going to be another fair election. Because, surprise, surprise, there isn't. This wasn't a fair election. At least if you ask, people who voted for Bernie in the primaries. You think they thought this was a fair election? That they feel like people feel like they've won? No, people had mixed feelings, and there were terrible debates among, the so-called woke leftists about even voting for Biden at all. They're like, no, we have to do it. They're happy Trump lost, but they were not happy about Biden winning. No matter, yeah. So there's, anyway, that's also Twitter stuff. Lots of very online stuff. Yeah. So that's important to me. I don't know how to wrap that up really. But
I think we covered there.
Yeah, there's no normal to go back to, and it's 2021, and we're gonna be ready to go live as soon as V3 of PeerTube launches. We are there live streaming. That is my goal.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
We need to get a server set up.
Huh? Yeah.
I think we need to get a server set up.
A server setup. We need our own server?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Like, breadtube dot, something like that.
Yeah, we'll have a meeting.
Literally, yeah. breadtube.organize.earth or something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we'll meet. We'll have meetings. We can probably work to get some tech people, some media people from Holland and just other countries. Just get them together because this should be an international thing. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I think we know all the people that we need to organize that, and we're gonna just have we're gonna have it going. So maybe it's good to for now be live on YouTube just to get used to it, work out the kinks, run into all the issues that you're gonna run into, find out what all the nice to haves would be. For instance, if you're also looking at tiled view, there's these gray bars at the top and at the bottom. That could be where chat could be. That could be if we want to talk about tweets, like if we have tweets prepared, we can post them in the bars, like up there and down there. So we can be like, hey, so I saw this one, and you can just put it in there and talk about it.
Yeah, we can think about it.
Yeah, or we could move this. We could move these, like this middle video thing up to the top edge of the screen, and then we have the bottom half to play YouTube videos or little clips or the stuff that you run into. But like here, this
like, talking about like coding. Here, I think
there's some very light coding, mainly Photoshop.
We'd have to have like our own fork and stuff to do that.
Of OBS?
Of
Oh yeah, but all this stuff all this stuff happens client side, like on OBS. So this is like
Oh, right, got you. Okay, yeah,
right.
yeah,
So that's the kind of
yeah.
stuff to do. Yeah, and then yeah, of course, combine it with our own Jitsi channel or something. I don't know. It's gonna be awesome. Yes, the open source revolution. This is also like putting your money where your mouth is, recognizing the privilege and the opportunity that you have, and doing what you can do. I mean, I'm not saying okay, I have to be perfect. Like okay, like oh, but you should be doing permaculture. Like well, I don't have a garden.
Jeez, I think we're switching from like live stream mode to just like chatting mode here.
Hmm. Very good.
So maybe we should end the live stream.
All right. Yes. Well, in that case, thanks for watching. Thank you so very much, MJ, for
Oh, thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you for hosting and sharing.
I have a bit of a sore throat. This was I'm out of practice. Does
Yeah.
it show?
Thanks for anyone who's listening.
Hmm?
Join our next one.
Yeah. So yes, if people want to see more, stay tuned. Watch the previous one. Is there a previous one on this channel? Maybe. But definitely watch the next one. And
And join the Jitsi.
join the Jitsi. Yes, that's the thing. Hop into the call and yeah, because that'll make it more good. The diversity of opinion and perspective is what's gonna get us the complete picture. All right.